Nanakuli, it's not the best place to be, but it's not the worst.
It's easy to miss Nanakuli. You drive west on the H1 freeway, past the Kahi Point power plant, and before you know it, you're in Waianae. Maybe the McDonald's sign caught your eye, or you noticed the malasada stand fronting the food giant. But really, Nanakuli was just the place you drove through to get to Waianae.
We're not the perfect school, we're not the perfect place.
A lot of kids here, including myself, have gone through rough backgrounds, substance abuse, drugs, alcohol, stuff like that, and our families were torn apart and broken.
If you were to ask anyone if they know anything about Nanakuli, the one thing they may recall is that Nanakuli High and Intermediate School is known as the worst school in Hawaii.
On this side of the island, poverty, high poverty rate. Homelessness is a big issue on this side of the island. So in most cases, our kids are coming to us with other things on their mind, besides academics.
It may be rated the worst school, but it depends on how the kids take it. You can decide whether you want to strive to do better in your classes, and there are numerous kids there that choose not to, but there are also numerous kids that choose to strive.
We want to set standards higher for Nanakuli and the school and our community.
Just because we're from Nanakuli, it doesn't mean that we can't work harder and strive for our goals and reach our goals.
I'm from Nanakuli. I'm going to be successful. There's nothing stopping me.
The Fringe Festival is the world's largest performing arts festival in Edinburgh, Scotland. It's held in August, approximately 3 to 4 weeks. And basically, they turned the whole city into a performing arts festival. It's big. I mean, it really is. The first week in May, we got a phone call, and they said, congratulations. And, that, I think for the kids, they were screaming when I announced it. Because I think for us, even if we weren't able to go to Scotland, the fact that we were selected, I think really said something about what we're doing here. And I didn't know even how many schools applied until later on. Says, and we are. I mean, we're proud of that, to say we're one of the best in the country.
It means a lot. It really does, because from a small school who was like the least rated in the state to have the opportunity to go to such a big event, I think it would really change some people's perspective on our school, our program, and our community.
What it will mean to the kids to go to, because we go to London first for 4 days, and then we catch a train to Edinburgh. So we're there almost two weeks, from July 31st to August 15th. What it will mean to the kids is this. It's what I said earlier. Anything is possible.
It's 4 a.m. at Honolulu International Airport. For most people, airports are a necessary evil. Struggling with luggage, going through security, standing in line after line. For the students, alumni assistants, and chaperones of Nanakuli Performing Arts Center, or NPAC as they're known, this airport on this day is the realization of a dream.
As more we found out about the magnitude of being invited, I think it just kind of was like, for me, it's like I was very, very proud of the program. I was proud of Mr. Kitsu and the kids.
Who would have thought 14 months ago? I didn't. I'll be honest. When I saw how much it costs, I was hoping we could take 5 people.
While the opportunity is great, so is the price. The cost of traveling to Scotland is $7,000 per person for 10 students and 8 alumni assistants.
Wow, that's a lot of money. And I went home that night and I talked to my parents and I'm like, Mom, I really understand if you can't afford this because I have a younger sister, and to think about saving that much money just for me to go on a trip, I didn't want to be selfish. I can't do that to my younger sister, but with all the people who are supporting us and people who are out there just trying to get the word out to people, it's just amazing. And it gives me goosebumps every time I think about it.
Goodbye.
Just knowing the problems we'd face and having to raise all this money and all these deadlines, I just didn't believe that we could do any of it. But when I found out that it was a possibility and we were just getting closer and closer to fundraising, I don't know, it just seems surreal to me.
So even for me, I keep, reiterating that to them. Imagine what is possible. But again, that's because you guys work hard and all of these characteristics, people want to help. And you never did it alone. And we keep repeating that. We're not going up there just representing our program or our school hundreds of people and organizations are on our back with support prayers, and that's who we're representing.
We went to an OHA meeting, and it was so amazing to see all of these Native Hawaiian people fighting for us and giving us, supporting us for this trip. And at that meeting, someone came up to us and they're like, "Hey, Nanakuli." And that was the first time that I had actually been completely proud to be from Nanakuli. And ever since then, "Hey, you're from Nanakuli?" "Yeah, I am." "You got a problem?" Yeah.
I've been here almost 10 years and I've already seen the shy ones turn into the stars, and now I get to see them experience this trip to Europe, where for some of them, their first trip, and for some of them, it's like something they could never dream of. It was not even in their possibilities book, and now they're going. So it's going to be interesting and fun.
For alumni assistant Tali Ulufale, Nanakuli's invitation to perform at the Fringe Festival is more than just a dream come true. It's validation for everything that Nanakuli Performing Arts has done to change lives, especially his own.
I was going down a bad path before I joined drama. I have a lot of talents. And I was going down that path, and when I joined drama, it helped open my eyes, and the program gave me a sense of belonging, and then Mr. gave me responsibility. And I think those were the two things that I needed.
My wife said, Tali, he will walk 25 miles for you. You know that. You call him up, he'll walk and he'll do that. He'll do whatever. And that kind of support and belief in you, loyalty, amazing.
When you come to drama, it's a family environment. They accept you into the family, and you just feel all the love and stuff. But then Mr. asks so much of us. He demands, you gotta be on time. Weekends, holidays, gotta sacrifice. And it was because of all that, I don't know, it just that's the word. I guess it helped push and motivate me.
Here's a young man or, a male who may not look like a regular performer, kind of rugged and things, but says, you know what, it's cool. It's cool to be in this. You don't know what you're missing, and you don't know what this program can do.
After a long flight that takes them halfway around the world, Nanakuli Performing Arts arrives in London, England, with eyes wide open.
Really, think about it. from not only 14 months ago, but where the program started. Students, thank you, because really, you guys have been in the program at least 2 years. Right? At least 2 years. Alumni, thank you for all your help and everything you give into the program. Soak it up, enjoy whatever. Please don't fall asleep on the tour, okay?
You know they're tired. It was a long flight. The airports were crazy, going through all of that stuff, but they just had this look of awe on their face, just soaking everything in, and I think that made it exciting for me too, because they kind of fueled my energy, they fueled Mister's energy. I haven't seen him that excited on a trip.
Gotta get one picture of myself. Hey! Several emotions running through on different levels, and just the experience of being in Europe for myself even. London, first time for me, and taking all of that in along with the kids, but really appreciating their appreciation of the opportunity.
For student Samuel Hedin, the opportunities presented by Nanakuli Performing Arts had a casual beginning.
Let's just say I was never a really open person. I was really closed to myself because 7th and 8th grade year was like kind of my lonely time, because all my friends from elementary all went to different schools, so I kind of started this one by myself.
I feel it's important for my kids to be a part of NPAC because I've seen what it provides for them beyond just schoolwork, and the classroom setting gives them an opportunity to expand their horizons, be creative, and learn skills that they wouldn't learn in a classroom setting.
All my older siblings were in it, and I actually wanted to be the different one and not be a part of it, kind of do my own thing, so I didn't join till freshman year. I didn't really want to do any of the big old performing things. I just wanted to help out with all the technical things like microphones and lighting. But then Mr. Kitsu told me that I'd actually have to perform. So then I was like a little bummed out for that, but I just thought, oh, might as well. So I gave it a shot, and after a while, I actually really liked it. Like, I can't really describe the feeling of your first performance. It's like one of the things that you'd say is like the greatest accomplishments.
This program isn't about making you a Broadway star. I mean, there are other programs that will do that. But what we hope to instill in you is good work ethic, courtesy, compassion, all of those things, and help each other out and things. And when you do fall, we kind of try and nudge you in the right direction.
We are a family. We all look out for each other. We love each other. We take care of each other. We're all friends.
That sense of family and closeness, and encouragement helps them with their self-image and self-confidence.
They don't want us to build up our talent. They want us to build us as people. Give us character, give us the skills we need for the 21st century.
They rehearse as a family, perform as a family, live as a family. So Nanakuli Performing Arts chose to travel as a family. During their stay in London and Scotland, they unanimously agreed to participate in all their activities as a group, not as individuals headed in different directions. Staying in dormitories only helped bring them even closer together.
I remember waking up and going to wake up the girls, and throughout the halls while, they're getting ready, all that stuff, all I hear is, I can't believe we're in London. Even when I'm pushing them awake, they wake up, I can't believe I'm in London. We meet up with the boys, I can't believe we're in London. And that was really the theme throughout the entire trip.
Their first stop, the London Eye.
Yeah, the London Eye.
You see it in movies, everybody talked about it, but it's so much bigger when you're there.
That was really scary for me. From the beginning, looking at it from the bottom, it was just, I had to get ready for it, shake myself. I'm like, oh, okay, it's gonna go on.
All the way from Nanakuli to London, man.
That's what I thought when I woke up.
Yeah, I
Still doesn't believe that they're in London.
Seeing the entire view, and it was breathtaking.
As soon as I got on, I grabbed the closest person next to me, which was Brandon. And then we started moving higher. I wanted to go up because I wanted to have that whole experience, like you said. But, it comes at a price, being afraid of everything, But I got over it after we got off.
For alumni assistant Andrew Hahn, life is about facing fears and overcoming challenges.
I committed myself to music because of my brother. He loved it, and then at first I didn't like it at first, but as he kept going with his music, I learned to love it. I didn't graduate on time, but he still supported me. And then after I graduated during the summer, he was the only person who told me that he was proud of me. When I learned that my brother had passed because his heart, I didn't really want to continue with music because he was music to me. But I knew that at his final resting, I had to continue what I love because of him, because he was proud of me.
For most of us, there is usually more than one strong influence. Andrew's brother gave him support and a love for music. Nanakuli Performing Arts gave him direction.
The program actually saved my life in a way, because I was always, a bad person before it too. Well, not always, but people would look down on me because of the things I would do. But the program actually, made me who I am today. I care for everybody, not just one person, but everybody.
Nanakuli Performing Arts cannot exist without the help of others. They depend on the generosity of their community, family, and friends in Hawaii, not just to travel to Europe, but to survive. What they didn't know until this trip is that some of their strongest supporters live on the other side of the world.
They were having a performance out at Pearl City that would be a fundraiser for this trip. And so I dragged my poor husband out on a Sunday afternoon. And, these kids, they sang their hearts out, and they did this really awesome job with their performance. And in between sets, Robin had, it was mostly the alumni, I think, talking about what the program meant to them. And so, you suddenly realize there's this contrast between, I hate to put it this way, but really that is what it is. The schools, the haves and the have-nots, and so from that point, I thought, okay, I'm gonna try and help these guys raise some money. And so one of the foundation's donors is Wayne Raposo, who lives in London. And so I had mentioned it to him in an email that, I was gonna help these kids, and so, of course, Wayne emailed back right away and said, well, what are you going to do? And I said, well, I'll give some money and see if other donors would like to contribute.
But the connection, I think, with Nanakuli and Waianae Coast is I'm from Kauai, and in many ways, rural Oahu and the neighbor islands share a lot in common. They're steeped in an old tradition of Hawaii. They're not part of, the city of Honolulu proper. So I identify a lot with the rural parts of Oahu.
And so it sort of went from there, and then it escalated into into what it became with, Wayne stepping up and saying,
I have often worked with the Almeida Theater, and I thought it would be very nice if I could arrange a tour and a visit for the Nana Cooley group to see it, because I think it's a great theater. It's small, lively, dynamic, and I think it'll be a lot of fun.
He never met us before. This guy from London, he welcomed us with open arms. He was proud of us. This pride he felt for us and what we've done, and being in London, it was like the pride you felt from a close friend or your parents.
I think the beauty of Wayne is that Wayne has not forgotten where he's from. And because he's never forgotten, he could relate to these kids from Nana Cooley. And so, thank God for Wayne coming out and kind of rolling out the red carpet and treating these kids with so much aloha. I mean, I know after the visit, he did email me and he said, what a wonderful group of kids. So these kids were great ambassadors, not just for the state of Hawaii, but for their community as well.
When I think about them, I think they're great individuals, but I think they represent the best of Hawaii, and I hope people in Hawaii will see it for what it is, which is they represent the best of us, and they should have our support now and in the future.
It was a dream come true, and at that point I was thinking, okay, it can't get better. It can't get any better than that. But it did, and
Hawaii singer Loretta Ablasair, in London for the production of South Pacific, invited the students of Nana Cooley to a special rehearsal of the classic Rodgers and Hammerstein musical.
Aloha. Welcome. Get plenty of Howley people here, yeah? Welcome. Aloha. Okay, did I get everybody? Yes. Okay. Oh, wait. Aloha.
Hello. For London, my biggest highlight would definitely be the South Pacific rehearsal.
That was amazing.
Your own special dreams bloom on the hillside and shine in the streams. If you try, you'll find me.
Just being there, like we thought we were going to be in a theater, an auditorium, and sitting, down in the seats, and they would be on stage, but we were in a small room, cramped in, and they were right there, like right with us.
I had this amazing feeling inside of me, like I just wanted to get up and like start, acting and dancing with them, singing.
Seeing how they rehearse and how professional they are, and just hearing it right then and there, that was just so real. And knowing that that was just for us.
After the rehearsal, Loretta, tenor Paula Sotz, director Bartlett Sher, talk story with the Nana Cooley students and alumni.
Dreams really do come true. I am now living proof of that, because I would never have thought that this would have happened once in my life. To be able to do this show twice and to travel with it and do this is an incredible blessing. And if you're lucky enough to have something like this bestowed upon you, I would implore you to take it seriously and respect it and honor it.
She's up there in London with a Tony Award-winning cast, and she was a Tony Award nominee. And it's just after when she was speaking to us and telling us that story, like me and Nikita are like sitting next to each other. We just like looked at each other and it was like, we can do this.
I think a lot of them, before that, they didn't think that they were capable of that too. They didn't make the connections that, maybe I could do this too. But watching their appreciation, how those people on stage were similar to the students, I could see it clicking in their faces, like, you know, there are so many possibilities for me.
Have ever had this kind of opportunity?
When I grow up, I want to become an actress for The Lion King on Broadway, and I want to act as an adult Nala. And she just helped me to figure out how I'm going to do that. And yeah, and it's just like, she was like such a big inspiration on me, such a good role model and everything for me.
Expand yourself, expand your mind, expand your experiences.
Bali high, Bali high.
Throughout their time in London, Robin Kitsu kept the students on a fast pace, wanting them to experience as much of the city and the surrounding countryside as they could. This immersion into the London culture included a surprise: the London production of the Broadway hit Wicked.
When I first started the program, the Nana Cooley Performing Arts program, I heard Nikita and Susan perform this song called Defying Gravity. So then I started listening to it, and I was like, oh my God, I can relate to this song. Because in the song, the witch singing, she explains how she's tired of playing by other people's game. You know, she wants to be free to do her own thing. And that's what I was trying to do.
We were walking past the theater and I was like, I can't believe that we're not gonna get to see this.
It's the place where they're actually showing Wicked. I'm like, you kidding me? You bringing me to the place where I'm gonna go cry probably because they're there and I'm out here not being able to go and watch it.
And then he tells us line up, and
it's time to assemble in our photo-taking positions. So then we're all sitting there smiling, and then he takes a picture, and then he goes,
Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations. In 1 hour, you will all go to see Wicked. I got you guys tickets.
Oh my God. That was like a major dream come true. Like, I'd never had a surprise come to me at that level.
You guys enjoy the show. You guys all
dreams come true, people. So then we watched the first half, and then the ending of the first half is the song Defying Gravity. And then I was just watching that, and I'm sitting there like in tears, like small light tears.
I couldn't, like, I can't express how happy I was, and it was amazing.
Going to see the theaters in London really kind of reopened like the little part of me that like dreams about being a Broadway star and being in musicals, like doing musical theater like as my profession.
Another amazing moment happened after the troupe saw the London production of Jersey Boys. Nana Cooley hit the streets of Piccadilly Circus with their own musical review, performing a medley of songs made famous by Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons.
Baby, when you're feeling like you'll never see the moment, come to me, baby, you'll see the love is pretty.
People loved it, and for them to have the courage and the heart to stand in the middle of the street and sing right after we just saw the real Jersey Boys, that was something I couldn't believe they did, but they did it, and it shows how much heart they have.
Nana Cooley Performing Arts has had 4 days of London culture history, and theater. Now it's off to Edinburgh, Scotland, where the students will prepare for their performance of Under the Influence at the Fringe Festival.
Oh, she was my person from last year. She's awesome.
For student Chloe Silva, the dream of traveling all the way to Scotland was only that, a dream.
Actually, at first, I never did believe it, because, like, Nanakuli, yeah, everyone says it's not the best place to live in, not really good interaction with people, or even with our knowledge, not that well. So, like, I never really thought that we would make it.
Like so many other stories from Nanakuli Performing Arts, Chloe's involvement with NPAC began with some hesitation.
It was like me and like my friend's idea, because like first she would say, oh yeah, NPAC is so good, we do dancing and singing. I'm like, I'm kind of used to seeing people dance and sing, not really seeing myself dance and sing, so I wasn't sure. But then she was like, oh, why don't you just try it out? And I tried it out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this so much. And it's like stuff that I feel comfortable doing. It literally helped me like with my confidence. Like, I'm more like, usually I'll be like keep to myself and like don't want to talk to anyone, but now like I talk to anyone, even if it's someone I don't know. I'll say like hi, whatever, and then just say, because like I'm more comfortable talking to random people now and like just making new friends.
You know, to see what she's able to do on stage from when she first started last year, I don't think there's any cast member that has grown so much.
And while performing arts has brought joy to Chloe's life, she struggles with her feelings about Nanakuli.
I'll be honest, Nanakuli is not my favorite place, because like, yeah, people down it, and I don't want to like, I don't want people to know that I'm from that place, and I'm just like everyone else. I'm not that person, because I actually do care, and I do care. I actually want to try in school, even though Nanakuli High is like one of the worst schools. I actually try.
Edinburgh, Scotland, home to ancient castles, rolling hills, and every year during the month of August, the Fringe Festival, the largest performing arts festival in the world. Upon arriving in Edinburgh, Nanakuli Performing Arts steps right onto the Royal Mile, where artists use any and all means to promote their performance at the Fringe.
This is nothing like I thought it would be. I never could be able to dream up something this grand.
I know Mr. tried to explain it earlier about being amongst people who share the same passion as you, and you don't get it until you're there in the Royal Mile and you see all the different performers, from the students, the school groups, to professionals.
I could be myself there, and there was other people who were just like me who enjoy doing the same things that I like to do.
It was just a really good place to discover yourself as a performer, as a person, and to take risks, you know, and to learn from other people and to make connections and make friends.
Making friends? That's what the students and alumni assistants proceeded to do. They passed out cards and plastic lei to promote the performance of Under the Influence. But more importantly, they brought a warm feeling of aloha that can only come from the heart. And in doing so, they made many, many friends in this place far away from home.
Under the Influence from Hawaii.
Oh, can I have a pink one? Okay, the pink one. Thank you.
Under the Influence from Hawaii.
Walmart top to the views. Free show day. I look up to you. Thank you. Mahalo.
They really like the Lays.
Yeah,
I know that.
They all, like, kids really love the Lays.
They're making jokes about it.
Come join the dance. Hayaka means good morning to you.
I'm all right, thank you.
It's me, Jackie.
You know, when you work the Royal Mile, you know, you don't expect everybody to come to your show, but you're just trying to get the word out. Personally, my goal was just to give them, the students, the experience of doing this, meeting other people and sharing the aloha. You know, honestly, I mean, if 2 people from this whole process come to the show, we were successful.
It was just like so much fun. I never thought I'd had so much fun running up to people and getting rejected.
Actually, being in the program really prepared me for this, you know, because at first, when I first joined the program, I was really shy. I couldn't do nothing. But it opened me up to like speak to people, you know, interact with them, you know. And then come here, it's like doing the same thing all over again. But you're prepared for that because drama did that for us.
Wow, thank you. Yeah, sure.
Every time I do a show, got a bunch of local girls out in the front row. They know all the words and the way the sound goes. Now they bouncing all around like they play in the bongo. And they know they
So for me personally, it's another dream come true. They're having fun. I think they're meeting people. You see some of the kids actually having long conversations, sharing about Hawaii and learning also from them, where they're from, their show. And so that's what this is all about, you know, just the camaraderie and meeting other people.
I heard about you guys. We were in London and we understood that the kids were over here from Hawaii and were heading over, and that they were just a wonderful group and that they captured the spirit of the Fringe Festival.
Another opportunity that the Royal Mile presents is the chance to showcase your range of talents to a broad audience. For Nanakuli Performing Arts, this was their time to bring even more of Hawaii to Scotland.
When we got up on stage and we did a hula like no one else, doing a hula up there on the Royal Mile in Scotland.
I'll be honest, I was kind of nervous. I was like, I don't know if I want to perform, because it's just so random. Like, you just drop everything and just start dancing.
Seeing the expression on people's faces, so I feel more comfortable. It's like I'm feeding off of them because they're enjoying it, so I'm enjoying it more.
Wake up where the clouds are far behind. Me, where troubles melt like lemon drops. High above the chimney tops, that's where.
Once you start dancing, it's just like you see how much people appreciate you there and how they're actually interested in what you're doing.
You can't help but be proud from where you are and being able to share that with the people in Europe.
What seems to come naturally to the Nanakuli performers, dancing and expressing themselves, wasn't always easy for Bailey Barnes.
I didn't know I loved dancing when I was little. I knew I liked it. And then when I came to this program, it taught me that dancing was my passion. And that's what I wanted to do. I had dermatomyositis. It's a skin and muscle disease. So it is a disease, but it's not a disability because it doesn't disable me to do anything. I would have cramps in my leg constantly. I had it from when I was 6 years old, and then it caused me to have JRA, the junior arthritis, the arthritis for kids. I had surgery on my right leg, on my thigh, and They took out the muscles, they did a muscle biopsy. And then I went back for testing to see what was still wrong with me. And it was gone. An uncurable disease, dermatomyositis, is gone. There was only one way that I believe that it could happen, that it would be gone. And I think that's through God. And God helped me to get that out of me, help get that sickness out of me. Although I do have arthritis still, it does not stop me from going for my dreams and stop me from dancing. It does not stop me from anything. I can do anything. Dreams do come true. And yeah, if you just have faith, hope, and believe in yourself and never give up, anything is possible.
One more time.
While staying in Scotland, the Nunnacooley troupe got a taste of dorm life, living in the student housing of the University of Edinburgh. Even though they were far from Nunnacooley, they still managed to create a home away from home.
When we were at the dorms, it was like home, in the sense that we're all together, we were just hanging out.
It was more like a college experience because we were living in dorms and just waking up, looking around, no one's there. It's just you and your room. And then as we was getting ready, we walk out and just seeing everyone so hyped up each day for going to performance, seeing new sights, just having fun together and getting closer.
A lot of these children have never been independent before. They're learning to budget their money. They're learning how to do laundry. They're trying not to lose their room keys. That's what it is for me. You see, a lot of them are growing up.
Those are the times that I cherish because those are what people, no destination, just us and just having fun. Some people singing.
But what's a gathering of teenagers without a good old-fashioned social? Introducing the Céilí dance, a traditional Scottish gathering.
It was a really fun time for me and for everybody. I mean, all the NPAC people had fun, all the different schools that were there had fun. And, you know, it was one time for us to just settle down and enjoy ourselves. It wasn't where we had to go, perform, do this, do that. It was time for ourselves to mingle, to have fun, to chat, and just sit down and relax.
And we were all just hanging out outside, and I met so many people from Minnesota. I love them. Idaho, Virginia, Wisconsin. We still keep in contact with them. I just have people writing on my wall, I hope you had an awesome day. And they don't even know how much that means.
"14 months of anticipation, a trip to the other side of the world, 2 weeks of once-in-a-lifetime experiences. At this point, all that means nothing. Nunnacooley Performing Arts is in the final preparations for what brought them to Scotland in the first place, performing under the influence a series of monologues about substance abuse and its consequences.
It was very hard to have such a heavy show.
It's really hard to get into character. It was tiring, emotionally draining.
Well, I guess you could say that I did have some help trying to get into character, thinking about, I don't know, family issues.
My character, she's in a relationship and she is entirely in love with this guy. And then he ends up getting addicted to crack cocaine, and she walks in on him smoking, and she's just like shocked because he's a different person now. And for me to get into character, it's tough because I haven't been in that situation, but I know what people who I know they've gone through, what they've had to deal with, and I know that it's not easy. And I think about what they had to go through, what they were thinking, and then I think about times where I had to struggle with something. I think about when I was in a relationship or whatever, and I think of what if that person did that? What would I do? What would I say?
The reason why we're here is to perform. And to me, it just encompasses everything that we've worked for and the help that we've had from all over. And to give everyone, including myself, this once-in-a-lifetime experience.
I remember walking on that stage, seeing that light, and the part I always remember for every single show, when you can hear yourself breathe in, that final breath before you say your first lines, and you just look at the crowd, and in your mind you're like, you're gonna do it, and you breathe in.
Mom? Under the Influence by Ron Parker.
You had something in your stomach today? Anything? I mean, something more than scotch and water? I'm sorry, I didn't mean that.
I know, like, people have told me, like, I went through that when I was younger. I know how that feels. Thank you for, it's like I was sharing their story.
How could Karen be replaced by cruelty so fast? I watched you one night, drunk, shake Lisa because she was crying and didn't want to go to bed.
In the back of our minds, we're like, maybe we're not good enough to do this, or we're not capable. But I think this trip, it kind of banished all those doubts.
Hey! This isn't soda! What's in this? What do you think it is? Smells like, I don't know, like glue? What a genius.
Yeah, all that studying you've been doing lately really paid off.
Is there glue in all your cans?
No, we just put it in yours because you're so special. What do you think?
I think, yeah, everyone goes through that stage where they want to be a part of something. I guess that's a way, for me, it's a way of finding yourself. Because you have to go through all this process in order to see what you like, see what you don't like in yourself.
At first, I even enjoyed the extra attention you started giving me.
In Hawaii, it's like, oh, Nanakuli.
But then,
It's just negative stereotypes, one after the other, and people don't realize how much it hurts, but we know that that's not how we are. And yeah, just to be on the trip, yeah, just people really appreciated us.
I think a lot about you. I think maybe I could have helped you not take that stuff and be addicted. And you could have taught me things like how to talk to boys.
I performed in Edinburgh Fringe Festival. The most amazing opportunity that anyone could have. I mean, me, 15-year-old, wine-eyed kid, it's like you never thought that I'd be up there doing that.
It felt like a really big responsibility to be putting on a show and representing not just Hawaii, not just Nanakuli, but the United States, because everyone from around everywhere just gave us money and whatnot.
I washed your faces, you would feel it.
That's what I think really pushed me to focus, to really try, do my best at every performance.
Go someplace else. Someplace not real. Someplace without me. For 9 months, I carried her. For 12 months, she learned and grew and loved. And then in a matter of seconds, all that was gone. In less time than it took you to finish one beer, my daughter is dead!
My character, she ends up following this girl, Jenny, because she wants to be exactly like her, because Jenny is perfect.
Close your bodies. Not like me. Built like a sack of potatoes.
So I end up taking speed, diet pill, and it leads me to having too much energy and ending up wanting to die. Like for the suicide part, like on the cutting part, I do have like friends that do that to themselves, and I was actually the person to like help them. I was like one of the people to help them to stop doing that to themselves, because like the people that done that are like my best friends.
Mom found me though. The fur was over. It was in the paper. You must have heard about it.
If I ever find you, I'll kill you! I'll kill you without a second thought! How can you sell this crap to kids? It's bad enough it's going around the high school. I found my passion in London, but I found my future in Edinburgh. How was a 7-year-old supposed to deal with that, huh?
The group that went up, we were close before. It's just that we formed this bond over the trip.
What I didn't realize was that by making everything easier for you, hoping that you change, I actually made it easier for you to stay the same.
The play, as intense and as emotional as it gets, it actually does help people. It as we express the emotion, it relieves it for them.
It's the final day of Nanakuli Performing Arts Centre's journey to Scotland. It's the last chance to walk to the top of Arthur's Seat, a small hill overlooking Edinburgh. And it's a chance for Rob and Kitsu to reflect on the accomplishments of the past 14 months and what it's meant to the students and alumni who worked so hard to get there.
It was our chance to show them who Nanakuli is and can be, not what it's known for.
This trip really opened my eyes in a way. Made me see how much things and possibilities are out there.
All they need is just a little hope. They have that opportunity and that hope that, that they can be successful.
The only person that can stop me from doing what I want would be me.
And while finding themselves in Scotland, the students and alumni reconnected with their home and the family of NPAC.
One of the most important things to me was family. Just going up there and being in a different place and a different culture and stuff, yet we're all there together, all of the group.
I appreciate the people around me because you never know what could happen. So I cherished every moment I was with them because we are a family and we do what every family does, and that's support each other.
It was funny because when I came back, I found out I was missing the people I was with the whole time. The people in the drama club. These are the people I consider family and home, no matter where we are.
I'll go with you, okay? I really have mixed feelings about Nanakuli, but it is home. It's my home. It's my where I grew up, not just physically, but as a person, in every way, I guess.
I've always been thinking about it. Like literally every night I'll be like, what does Nana Cooley mean to me? What does Nana Cooley mean to me? And I realized I wouldn't be in a program because of Nana Cooley. I wouldn't have my friends. I wouldn't be who I am. I probably would have been a nobody.
I wouldn't have graduated. I wouldn't be here talking right now. I probably would have been behind bars or breaking some kind of law. But after staying out in the program in Nana Cooley, seeing seeing this outlet for kids like me. I've been there. I know what these kids go through, their home lives. I understand everything they're going through. And I believe in this program that if you stick it out, it will help you to graduate, be a better person, and prepare you for the real world more than anything else.
And I think that's what's kept Mr. going on these years. Just seeing how the program affects the students, affects him, even the alumni, and how it changes them.
You know, you asked, what does Nana Cooley mean to you? And if you were to ask me that, for me, it's home. It's home. But if you tell me who is Nana Cooley, they're tenacious. These kids, when you hear their stories of what they've had to overcome to be where they are today, even without us, even before us, you just have to admire them. It's amazing. And I said this from the first year I began teaching at Nana Cooley, that these kids may not have as much as other communities, but I don't think anyone can touch their heart.
Nana Cooley. Maybe it's just that small community between the Kahi Point Power Plant and Waianae. But for the students, alumni, and faculty of Nana Cooley Performing Arts and Nana Cooley High and Intermediate, Nana Cooley is home. Home to a remarkable group of young adults who went to Scotland and taught the world about love, respect, and family. And if they have their way, it will never be easy to miss Nana Cooley again.
Somewhere over the rainbow, up high, and the dreams that you dreamed of once in a lullaby. Once in a life come true.
This program was made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.